Welcome back! My name is Baller Scuba. This is Video Games Over Time. We are still in 1983, and we are still in Enchanter. When we last left off, we made about halfway through the game, maybe a little bit less. We got ourselves a few spells. We added a few to our spell book. We got a few more. Things are looking out good for us, but we still have quite a bit of work to do before we are ready to take on the big bad at the end here. So, we are going to head down from where I am right now. If you remember, I just got the Osmu spell and headed back. I believe the room that we're in is South Hall, and we picked up our spell book. From here, we can head down. That will take us into the dungeon. A dank and forgotten pit contains the dungeons. There's a cell to the north, and a partly blocked passage leads even deeper into the earth. It looks as if there was once a mortared stone wall blocking this passage, but it has crumbled and collapsed, reopening the tunnel. All right, we're going to do something fairly stupid here. We are going to open the cell door. The door is very rusty and reluctantly opens, and we're going to go north into the south. This is a damp and unhealthy dungeon cell with writing on the walls. The rusty door of the cell is open. All right, so let's examine the writing that they're talking about. The writing is covered with graffiti and scratching, marking time's passage. You notice that the mortar holding a square block has been chipped away and the block is loose. Well, let's remove that block then. Pull the block out of the crumbling wall, revealing a dark passage leading east. You're beginning to tire. We'll worry about sleep at some point, but not today. We're going to go east into that dark passage. This is a secret passage. This is a crudely carved secret passage. It appears to have been hollowed out by perhaps generations of prisoners. A passage leads west. A short, crudely hewn passage leads up. Lying near the door is a silver spoon, discarded by the prisoners as too soft to dig with. It is only slightly worn. Lying on the ground and slightly damaged is a stained scroll. You're very hungry now. You'd better have something to eat. Not yet. All right, we are going to take that scroll, take stained scroll, and then we are going to read stained scroll. The scroll reads XX spell, make things move with greater speed. That will be necessary for us, but not in necessarily the way you expect. All right, we are going to go west and south and head back to the dungeon. Then we will go up to where we actually started. At least this session, we're in South Hall. All right, we're going to go east, back to the gallery. A little bit less information here than before because we have a light with us. East again to the south gate, and then we are going to go south. I think this might be new, actually. This interior courtyard stands at the southern entrance to the castle, where a small rusty gate is standing open and slowly swaying in a gentle sea breeze. Beyond the gate can be seen a small meadow, and beyond that, a white beach on a misty sea. Passages enter the castle proper to the north, east, and west. We're going to go southeast. South from here. Yes. To the meadow first. Getting a little ahead of myself again. There is a meadow near the sea. There is a smell of salt in the air. Only heather and thistles grow here. To the north is a gate leading into the castle. A narrow path to the southeast leads to the shore of the sea. The darkening sky is lit by a waning moon. All right, we'll head southeast from here. This will take us to the beach. This is a rocky beach along a gray and lifeless sea. There is dead seaweed covering many rocks, and listless waves barely stir the flotsam and jetsam here. There are many shells, but all are broken. A narrow path to the northwest leads into a meadow. The darkening sky is lit by a waning moon. Crawling slowly along the beach is an enormous turtle, his enameled shell shining with all the colors of the rainbow. You are feeling tired. All right, so this is where things are going to get a little stranger than we've normally had it, and a little bit less apparent on how to solve things than we've had it before. This is one of those tough puzzles that there are ways to figure out how to do, but we haven't seen any of those yet. I'm just kind of doing what I need to do to make it through. So we're going to learn the Knitfall spell. Knitfall will allow us to talk to animals. Using your best study habits, you learn the Knitfall spell. The darkened sky is now full of bright stars. It is night, and I am now fairly starving. If you don't eat soon, you will pass out. So we'll eat the bread. There's a whole lot left too. We are going to then cast Knitfall on the turtle. The rainbow turtle looks at you for a moment, and you look at it. Hello, it says. So we are going to have the turtle help us with something. So turtle, you're going to have to follow me. The turtle hisses, I will follow you. All right, we're going to go northwest to the meadow. The turtle, at his own leisurely pace, follows you. Then we are going to go north, back to the south gate, east to the tower, and up. Up the tower with the turtle? Yes. To the engine room. And this is where it kind of looks fairly apparent that you're going to need something with some defense in this engine room. We have a turtle. The room is filled with noise, crashing and smashing, gurgling of water, grinding of gears, and horrible screeching of metal. Huge devices of obscure purpose provide these effects. The most notable is a hammer that smashes continually against the stone floor. It makes any crossing of the room a dangerous enterprise. The whole construction brings to mind the words infernal machine. Far off to the southeast is another room. You can barely make out something on the floor of that room. It might be a scroll, but from here you can't tell for sure. Pretty steep stairs for a turtle friend, but if you say so. So, like they said, it's a dangerous enterprise here, but there's a scroll in the southeast room, or at least maybe a scroll, but I mean, it's going to be a scroll. What you might not also know is that if you just ask the turtle to go and get it for you now, bad things are going to happen to the turtle. And I don't want that to happen, so we're going to XX the turtle to make the turtle faster. As you cast the spell, the stain scroll vanishes. The rainbow turtle shimmers, then vibrates in place for a few seconds, but doesn't take any notice of the change. Crash! A huge hammer smashes against the stone floor. All right, this should work for us now. Turtle, go southeast and get scroll. As the turtle starts across, he sets to set off something, for the machinery speeds up and the noise level becomes almost unbearable. Luckily, he makes it to the other side safely. You are worn out. The turtle sticks his head through the door across the mechanical wasteland. In his mouth is a scroll of some sort. All right, we need to yell at the turtle, not because we're upset, but because in order for him to hear us, we have to yell. It's very loud in here. The turtle takes notice, nods his head, and starts in your direction. The turtle fairly zips across the engine room, dodging the giant hammers and gears. Suddenly he sets off a trap, and sharp spears fly at him from all directions, but they bounce harmlessly off his shell. He avoids one last crash of a huge hammer, but even at his speed, it's a near thing. With one more burst of speed, he reaches you safely. Crash! A huge hammer smashes against the stone floor. The turtle drops a brittle scroll at your feet. Not bad, huh? Not bad at all. All right, can I take this scroll? I've had some issues with this. Take brittle scroll. Your load is too heavy, especially in light of your exhaustion. All right, so we're going to do something that is very risky because I need everything that we have. I just need it. So we're going to drop the egg that I have. Mouth is getting rather dry. Now we're going to take the brittle scroll, and we're going to read the brittle scroll. The scroll reads Kulkad spell, dispel a magic spell. The spell seems very long and extremely complicated. You cannot write the Kulkad spell to your book. And then the huge hammer goes down again. And once again, if we didn't make the turtle faster, I believe that the turtle would have gotten hit by the hammer, which we don't want to happen. The spears, I guess, are fine, but whatever. Okay, so now we have the Kulkad spell. We need to rest. That's our next goal. The problem is that I need that egg too, but they're not going to let me take it, are they? Take egg? No. Because I'm tired. Because I'm too tired, I can't take the egg. So, down, west 4 times. I'm feeling wrung out and tired, I am aware. And then up to get back to the bedroom. We were here before. But we're going to lie down and actually use it this time. Lying on this soft bed puts you to sleep. Sleep. It's been a long day indeed. The rest will do you good. You make yourself comfortable on the bed and drift off, renewing your powers and refreshing your mind. Time passes as you snore blissfully. You dream of a nondescript room in which a cartoonish figure casually opens a simple wooden door and ascends the flight of stairs which lies behind. The scene fades to black, but you awaken in a cold sweat. You're becoming thirsty. That's fine. I have my water on me, and I don't necessarily need it yet. All right, so first things first, we have to get up. That was a comfortable bed, but you're now on your own feet again. Okay, down to leave the tower, but we got to go back and get that egg. So let's go east 4 times. Everything's fine here. And then up into the engine room. The turtle's still here waiting for us, but we're basically done with the turtle. We're going to get the egg. And then we're going to go down and west 4 more times. Back to the bottom of the tower. Now we're going to go north twice. Back to Inside Gate. I believe this was our first entrance into the castle. We're going to go east from here to the courtyard. This is the westernmost point in a large open courtyard. The huge entrance gate to the castle looms ominously to the west. The courtyard widens as it proceeds to the east, where a large ivy-covered temple stands. On either side of the temple are small towers. Far beyond the temple, high above, are 2 large towers marking the corners of the castle. A squat dark turret hunches between them, blackening the sky around it. A small path leads into the castle to the south. All right, we're going to do stupid things here. We're going to go east from here. You are in the center of a large courtyard which surrounds you. Everything around you is ashen and gray, and the air seems miasmic and oppressive. The dead grass seems to grab at your feet as you stand gazing around. To the east is a temple flanked by 2 smaller towers. Behind it can be seen the 2 eastern towers of the castle, shrouded in blood-red fog. Between them is a dark turret, black and ominous as night. It sends dark streams of smoke curling around everything near it. From the temple can be heard a mournful chant. This doesn't sound good, does it? Okay, so we are going to... I believe I can just cast Osmoo. As you cast the spell, the black scroll vanishes. A huge puff of orange smoke envelops you, but you feel no different. If you remember from the last video, Osmoo was protect from unnatural death, which does not sound good, but I needed to use that. Okay, let's drink from Jug, because I'm about to drop everything, and I'm not sure if, basically my water meter is going to last until we're done with this. So we're going to drop all after I took the drink. Then we are going to go east into the temple. It's not a nice looking temple at all. Temple! Everything you see is gray and lifeless, as though covered with a veil of ash. Sound is muted, and there is a faint, acrid odor. This is the interior of a huge temple of primitive construction. A few flickering torches cast a sallow illumination over the altar, which, atop a row of stairs, is still drenched with the blood of human sacrifice. Behind the altar is an enormous statue of a demon, which seems to reach towards you with dripping fangs and razor-sharp talons. 2 open doorways lead out of the temple to the east and west, while 2 wooden doors stand at the north and south. A mass of hunched figures in the temple are chanting a haunting tune. They don't seem interested in your presence. A low noise begins behind you, and you turn to see hundreds of hunched and hairy shapes. A guttural chant issues from their throats. Near you stands a figure draped in a robe of deepest black, brandishing a vicious dagger. The chant grows louder as the robed figure approaches the altar. As the shapes grab you, the figure in black speaks. Take the victim to the tower. I shall prepare for the sacrifice. The figures, whose forms you can barely guess, take you from here through the northern door and into a prison cell. They close the door with a crash. So as soon as you walk into the temple, bad things start happening. You get basically abducted and thrown into a cell. Sounds like you're going to be sacrificed. That does not sound good. But we have Osmoo. But I also didn't bring my stuff. Everything you see is gray and lifeless in the cell, as though covered with a veil of ash. Sound is muted, and there is a faint acrid odor. This is a small prison cell in the north tower of the temple. Hideous shapes can be seen through the iron-barred window in the prison door. From the temple, a blood-curdling chant can be heard. There's not much for us to do in this cell. As you can see, there's nothing really described, so all we can really do is wait. We are in prison after all. We'll have to wait one time, though. Time passes. A host of hunched and hairy shapes appear through the window. The cell door opens and you are marched solemnly to the temple and, from there, up the steps to the altar. The large black figure approaches menacingly. He reaches into his cloak and pulls out a great glowing dagger. He pulls you onto the altar and with a murmur of approval from the throng, he plunges the blade into your heart. You feel yourself filled with a strange warmth as your eyes slowly open. You are lying on the altar. A glowing dagger in your chest. You're in no pain, however. The large figure is gone, but the throng of shapes, taking no notice of your movement, is chanting in the temple below. You slowly remove the dagger from your chest, but you are not harmed. The blade shines faintly in the light of the flickering torches. We're at the sacrificial altar. This is the altar of the temple. Acrid smoke fills the air and a feeling of lurking evil is all around. A low droning just at the lowest end of your perception causes your hair to stand on end. Behind the altar is an enormous statue of a demon which reaches towards you with dripping fangs and razor-sharp talons. The fangs and talons are blood red. In the temple below is a mass of hunched figures, chanting in hideous tones. So, we went through all that basically to get a dagger. I'm not going to lie. I don't think anything else was necessary for that. I mean, you're going to need the dagger, but that's a hell of a way to get a dagger. We got quite a few points for all that, though. We do have the dagger, right? We don't have to take it. It's already kind of on us. We can go down from here, back to the temple. They don't seem interested in us. Everything here is essentially the same. So we can go west from here into the courtyard, where all our stuff is. We're going to take all of that. Let's make sure everything actually got taken. It did. Hooray. That was not very nice. Okay, so we need to go west from here, back to the western side of the courtyard, and south from here to the closet. It said that it would take us into the castle, but apparently this is some sort of like coat closet for you to hang up your coat when you go into the castle. I almost said temple. No, we're done with the temple. We're in the castle now. Closet. The small room must have been a closet of some sort. To the north is a passage leading out into a courtyard. Another exit is to the south. In the exact center of the room is a large jeweled box. It is wrapped in tight coils of thin rope. You try to follow the strands with your eye, but become hopelessly lost in the jumble of thousands of loops and knots. So we need the dagger for this. Just for this. We're going to cut the rope with the sacrificial dagger. At the mere touch of the magic knife, the rope gives way. Before your eyes, the strands, now moving this way, now moving that way, untangle themselves into a single strand which falls to the floor alongside the box, where it dissolves into the air without a sound. All right, so let's open the box. Opening the jeweled box reveals a vellum scroll. Let's take the vellum scroll and read the vellum scroll. The scroll reads, Melbor spell. Protect magic users from harm by evil beings. All right, we are now done with the dagger, so we can drop it. That's it. I don't know what to tell you. Okay, so now I'm going to drop a save here. This is a good spot. I've done this a couple times and had a couple issues, so here seems to be a good spot for it. Well, it's save number 2 for me. All right. Let's head north from here, back into the courtyard, west, and north a couple times, back to the northwest tower. This time we're going to go east to the Hall of Mirrors 1. Now, remember last time we came here, I walked all the way across the Hall of Mirrors to Hall of Mirrors 4, and there we saw an adventurer. That's actually a random thing where the adventurer will show up if he shows up, but he does randomly show up. We need to get that to happen again. What we're going to do is learn the Vaxum spell before we do anything. Wait, hold on, what? Using your study habits, you learn the Vaxum spell. From the other side of the mirror, a bedraggled adventurer comes into view, carrying a brass lantern and an elvish sword, which is glowing dimly. He stops and stares at your direction. The adventurer, after checking his compass, walks off. So, he's already gone. We already kind of missed him. It happens sometimes. All right, so we need to kind of go back and forth around the Hall of Mirrors, hoping to get the adventurer to show up and stay so that I can do something with him. All right, not there. There he is at Hall of Mirrors 3 for us this time. Okay, so I already learned the Vaxum spell. Vaxum makes things friendly for me. But I can cast Zifmia on him, which I need to do. As you cast the spell, the faded scroll vanishes. I don't need to memorize it because it's on the scroll. All at once, the bedraggled adventurer appears before you, brightly glowing sword in hand. His jaw has dropped and his eyes are bulging. His eyes dart this way and that, as if looking for a way to escape. Okay, now we need to Vaxum adventurer. Adventurer smiles at you with an air of goodwill. The adventurer, not overly tactful, asks to see what you're holding. You're becoming quite hungry. Okay, so we brought him basically into our world through the mirror. We brought him out of Zork. And then we have Vaxumed him to make him friendly to us. What I need to do now is show him the egg. Don't give it to him, just show it to him. Look what I have. His eyes light up at the sight of the beautiful ornamented egg. The adventurer asks what you would be needing treasures for. Don't worry about it. Okay. We need to go east a few times. We've made it to Hall of Mirrors 4. Now that I've made him friendly, he will do what I ask sometimes. But now that I've shown him the egg, he's willing to follow us. And that is good. He's eyeing my possessions intently. All right, we'll go east again to the North Gate. We have been here before. The adventurer offers to relieve you of some of your possessions. We'll get there. I'll reward you. Don't worry. East one more time from here. We have made it to the North Gate before, but we need to go east this time to the guarded door. The adventurer, proceeding cautiously, follows you. He seems to be paying particular attention to your possessions. Guarded door. A more incongruous place than this would be difficult to believe. The room itself is nothing more than a small room at the base of the northeast tower, with a narrow passageway entering from the west. Standing in front of you to the north, however, is a door surpassing anything you could have imagined. For starters, its massive lock is wrapped in a dozen 6-inch thick iron chains. In addition, a certain 5-headed monster sporting razor-sharp spears for tongues seems to be embedded within its heavy oak frame. One is almost embarrassed to mention the gargoyles spewing flame and sulphurous ash, which ornament either side of the door, or the 97 slimy groping tentacles which taunt you ever closer to certain death. A sign floating serenely above the door and glowing hideously in purple letters offers the following rude understatement. Don't bother. There is a bedraggled and weary adventurer standing here. He is carrying a sword and a brass lantern. He seems pleased to see you and frequently smiles in your direction. The adventurer glances around the room in a businesslike way and makes a few notes on his map. The adventurer offers to relieve you of some of your possessions. So, this is where things are going to get a little weird, but we're just going to point at the door. Point at door. Should work. As you motion toward the monstrous door, the adventurer follows the imaginary line which proceeds thence from your outstretched arm. The seemingly fearless adventurer shrugs and walks purposefully towards the door, ignoring all harm to his person in the forms of knives, tentacles, and molten lead. As 3 buckets of the latter pour over his head, he casts you a perplexed look. Did you try the doorknob? He asks, as 27 knives delicately skewer him. Before you can answer, he reaches for one of the gargoyle heads, which, by sheerest coincidence, has just flooded him with red-orange flame, and turns it gently. I think it's unlocked, he says, stoically ignoring the host of human-sized rats which feed on his incinerated torso. His left hand, broken and bloodied, pulls at the gargoyle head. I'm going on ahead, he cries, opening a simple wooden door. Wooden door? You rub your eyes for a moment and look again as he goes through it. Yes, just a plain wooden door. So all of that we saw was basically an illusion. And the adventurer, possibly because he's not from this game, was able to just ignore it and didn't see the illusion at all. He's just like, it's a wooden door. Why do you need me to open it? It's not locked or anything. Okay, so from here we can go up because the illusion is shattered. That's basically what we needed him to do. We can go up and we can enter the map room. This room in the high tower appears to be a map room with hundreds of ancient maps covering the walls. A huge globe made of gold sits on a pedestal in the center of the room. Through the tower windows can be seen a vast forest stretching out from the northeast and the sea, covered in fog to the east and south. Stairs to the south lead to the bottom of the tower. Lying on the floor is a purple scroll. In one corner of the room is a badly worn pencil inscribed with runes. Lying on the ground is an old parchment map. There is a bedraggled and weary adventurer standing here. He's carrying a sword and a brass lantern. He seems pleased to see you and frequently smiles in your direction. The adventurer leaves the room through the simple wooden door, heading to the south. I don't necessarily think we need to do anything. We need to take the map and the pencil. That's what we need to do. I was thinking about the adventurer. I think we're good. Take the map and the pencil. Okay, so my load is too heavy to pick up the map. So let's give the egg to the adventurer. The adventurer gratefully accepts the offer of the beautiful ornamented egg. He is fascinated by its beauty and stops to thank you. The adventurer stares at his possessions as if expecting a revelation. Now we can take the map. Okay. I don't think we need that scroll, so I'm going to leave that for now. I think permanently. Let's go ahead and save here. This is where things can get quite hairy again, so we'll do Enchanter 3. And we'll move on from here. We're getting close to the end here. Getting close. All right, we need to go back to the dungeon. The way to do that is to go down to the garden door. We're very hungry at this point, but yes, let's read this because it's all new. This rather unobtrusive room at the base of the northwest tower sports a small passageway to the west and a small rickety door to the north, which is open. There's a bedraggled and weary adventurer standing here. He's carrying a beautiful ornamented egg, a sword, and a brass lantern. He seems pleased to see you and frequently smiles in your direction. Adventurer leaves the room, headed to the west. You're very hungry now. You better have something to eat. Fairly starving is what I'm looking for. But we have gone down to the guarded door, which is no longer guarded, and it's just a normal room now. We need to go west 6 times. So west, I'll double check to make sure I don't need to eat anytime soon. That's 3, 4, 5, and 6 to the base of the tower. Then we can go south 4 times total. The darkening sky is lit by a waning moon. How nice. 2, 3, and 4. The darkened sky is full of bright stars. It is night. All right, fairly starving, so let's eat the bread. We're at the southwest tower at this point, so we need to go east back to South Hall and down into the dungeon. And this is where things get really, really weird, I think, and something that we can try to figure out. Let's try examining the map. That will hopefully help us figure out what's going on. The map consists of drawings with 9 points, each represented by a strange character with interconnecting thin pencil lines. Using your native alphabet, it looks like this. B has exclamation points going all the way to R. R is connected to H and M. Yeah, it's all these lines between all of them together. We don't have a connection for P at all. And there's a lot of just kind of ones here. We can only make 2 lines with our pencil before it runs out. So we need to do this very carefully. We're going to connect B and K. A thin line now connects the 2 spots on the map, but the pencil point is very nearly gone. You're becoming quite thirsty. We need to connect P and F. A thin line now collects the 2 spots on the map, but the pencil point is gone. You feel that 2 powerful evil forces are searching each other out. As they meet, the air lightens. Belbaz appears before you. Something has disturbed the ancient terror. Krill himself knows this, and will try to use it to his purposes. Already, they may have joined together. You must not allow the terror to escape, or we are all doomed. He fades into the gloom. All right, we're going to wait. This is what got me last time. Disconnect J and V. All right. The line between the 2 spots is erased, leaving the eraser barely usable. If you do anything between connect P and F and disconnect J and V, other than wait those 2 times, you will lose. I know. But what ends up happening is that... what ended up happening last time, I should say, is that I needed to eat something in the middle of that, and that screwed up the timing, and that's what did it for me. All right, so now we need to disconnect B and K. The line between the 2 spots is erased, leaving the eraser not fit for use. From somewhere nearby, an unseen force probes you, and you are gripped by a sickening feeling. Okay, so we did what we needed to do on the magic map with our magic pencil. Now we need to actually get to a scroll. We're going to go down from here into the translucent room. This is a peculiar room whose cream-colored walls are thin and translucent. An exit is to the south and it is very strange indeed, perfectly round and black as pitch. We can go south from here to another translucent room. Passages go to the southeast, east, and north, and they are very strange indeed, perfectly round and black as pitch. Okay, we will go east from here to another translucent room. Passages go to the west, southwest, and northeast, and they're very strange indeed, perfectly round and black as pitch. So after east, we need to go northeast to another translucent room. Passages are going to the southwest and southeast. We're going to go southeast from here. Passages go to the northwest and southwest. Very thirsty, not quite yet. Then we're going to go southwest from here to a translucent room again. An exit is to the northeast, and it's very strange indeed, perfectly round and black as pitch. A scroll emanating power is here. We are going to take scroll and read scroll. Which scroll? We have to read the powerful scroll. The scroll reads Guncho spell. Banish the victim to another plane of existence. This spell seems very long and extremely complicated, which means you can't put it in your spell book. All right. We need to get out of here. So we're going to go northeast, northwest, west. Northeast, northwest, southwest, then west, north, and then up. Okay, my lips are parched. Drink from jug. I'm not too worried about tired at this point. Okay. We're going to go up again, east, twice into the south gate, and north to the east hall. This short piece of corridor continues to the north and south. We are then going to save. Let's not mess around at this point. Enchanter 4. Okay. We're going to Melbor Me. As you cast the spell, the vellum scroll vanishes. A wave of warmth courses through you, leaving you with a great feeling of internal strength. You are feeling tired. Melbor is going to protect me. That's the point. So we're going to go north to the banquet hall. This desolate hall is nearly empty, save for a few long benches which are scattered throughout the room. The walls seem to be scorched, and everywhere are signs of decay. A sickening odor pervades the room, and wisps of acrid black smoke can be seen to the north. A wide passage leads south, and a small one opens to the east. To the north, you can hear the sound of a group of low, guttural voices. All right, we're going to go north again to the junction. The corridor widens here to form a large hall. To the north and south are small passages, and to the east is what appears to be an enormous spiral staircase. Passage to the west leads into the courtyard. The walls here are scarred and black, and a strange heaviness hangs in the air. A gaunt, feral-looking dog carrying a well-chewed bone approaches, is surprised by your presence, growls, and then turns tail. That's fine, but there's not good stuff happening here. We need to go east to the landing. Everything you see is gray and lifeless, as though covered with a veil of ash. Sound is muted, and there is a faint acrid odor. The wall is cylindrical here, which exits east and west. The eastern one opens into a dark and enclosed space. The air is thick with acrid smoke, and black, greasy ashes mar the floor. The mortar and stones of the wall are stained and crumbly. We need to go east one more time to the winding stair. This is a winding stair stretching up and down out of sight. The walls are mossy and damp. An exit leads west to a landing. Okay. We are going to learn Gondar. Using your best study habits, you'll learn the Gondar spell. Learn Vaxum. And then we are going to Kulkad the Stairs. As you cast the spell, the brittle scroll vanishes. The stairway begins to dissolve before your eyes, leaving a circular area with exits east and west, but remarkable mainly for its absence of a floor. Indeed, you find yourself standing in midair above a deep pit with the sort of comical look which is found mainly among duped cartoon characters. Frantically, you grab for the solid banister, dropping your heavier possessions in your desire to save yourself, but the banister shifts and dissolves as well, leaving you grasping what appears to be an ornate scroll. You plummet downward deeper into the pit, but the bottom is still not visible. Far ahead of you fall your former possessions. Hooray! Read ornate scroll. The scroll reads Izyuk spell, fly like a bird. You plummet downward deeper into the pit, but the bottom is still not visible. Far ahead of you fall your former possessions. Okay, so we need to Izyuk me. As you cast the spell, the ornate scroll vanishes. Your descent slows and you are floating serenely in midair. The tower surrounds you with wide-cut openings to the east and west. You could probably fly in either direction if you wish. All right, we want to go east from here. Effortlessly, you float eastward and settle to the ground. As you enter, you realize that this is Krill's secret chamber, protected by powerful illusions now broken by your skills. Before you stands Krill, engaged in the casting of some complex and horrific magic. Krill turns to face you, surprised and annoyed by your intrusion. You have seen him before, cloaked in black. He sacrificed you at the altar before his horde. His yellow eyes glisten and he breathes deeply. In a voice as deep as the great caverns of the earth, he speaks. Fool, parlor magician, you dare to defile my chamber with your worm-like presence. I shall not waste words with you. Goodbye, spellmonger. Krill snaps his fingers loudly, and a giant dragon appears, breathing gouts of flame. He moves ever closer, red eyes bulging with malice. We're in the Warlock's Tower. This is a room carved out of black basalt, eerily lit by flickering fires and the dim glow of magic. A dragon, spouting flame, approaches. The Warlock Krill, robed in black, stands before you in eager anticipation of your death. Well then, we need to Gondar the dragon, number 1. The dragon's flame is doused in a torrent of water as you cast the Gondar spell. He disappears with a torturous scream. Krill seems to be somewhat amused. A fine spell, wizard worm, but your luck has ended. With another snap of his fingers, he summons a being whose essence is evil. It has a shape which is masked by its blackness and exudes a foul, fetid odor. In its hand is a large battle axe. At a signal from Krill, it advances. So we need to Vaxum the shape. The monster hesitates, stops, smiles, and disappears. Krill seems to be losing patience. I am through playing games, carnival clown. You shall return to your circle. But I am afraid that all the little pieces will prove hard to reassemble. He laughs hideously and starts a guttural chant which shakes the very tower. Now it's time. Guncho, Krill. Krill recoils as he hears the first words of the Guncho spell. For a few seconds, he continues with the spell he was casting, trying to finish before you. He fumbles some syllables. Then he steps back and, with his hands outstretched towards you, lets out a blood-curdling scream. His face twisted and his body vibrating with the effort of resisting the enchantment. He utters a spell of power and is gone. After a quiet moment, a rumble begins deep in the earth. It strengthens as the tower starts to sway. The floor gives way beneath you and you tumble down toward the sea. Then you are surrounded by a burst of light. You realize that you are with the Circle, The eldest of the circle, Belbaz, rises and speaks. The evil of Krill is ended this day. From beyond hope you have proved yourself great and worthy. Our hearts are gladdened at your return. A chair appears at his right, and he motions for you to sit beside him. He smiles warmly. Join with us, he says, and tell us of your quest. Here ends the first chapter of the Enchanter Saga, in which, by virtue of your skills, you have joined the Circle of Enchanters. Further adventures await you as the Enchanter series continues. Spoilers. This might end the game, we'll see. All right, we're good. Your score is 400 of a possible 400 in 269 moves. This puts you in the class of Member of the Circle of Enchanters. And then would you like to restart, restore, or quit? But that is the game. We got max score. I probably could have done it in a few less moves, but we did it fairly efficiently, I think. So that is Enchanter now played. So with the game now played, let's talk about how the game holds up today. Playing the game today, I do have to say that the game is definitely fun. It is a game that I enjoyed playing. I have enjoyed pretty much everything that we've done from Infocom to this point, so that's probably not a surprise. This game is definitely more of a fantasy-style game with all the spells that are involved in it. We even got a dragon and some shapeless being at the end. Well, shaped being, whatever it was at the end. But anyway, the game is fun, and I enjoyed it because of the spells. You kind of have to think outside the box. You probably have to make notes all the time of what spells are actually going to do and how to use them. But there's definitely some times when there's going to be some trial and error when it comes to the spells. Knowing that you have to memorize 2 spells at the end in order to fight 2 different beings and then cast the spell that you just picked up. Even if you do everything right, that last bit is going to take some practice in order to get right. But for fans of the game at the time, that's not going to be a hurdle for them. That's not going to be an obstacle. That's just kind of part of the game, that there's going to be guesses and checks and things like that. There's also a bit of what do I memorize, what do I not memorize for the spellbook. I don't believe that the spellbook can get full, but I'm not entirely sure about that. To be honest. I should also point out, before I forget, that there is a map that comes with the game. I'm just not sure if the map is part of the original version of the game, so I didn't include it in our introduction to the game, but I will show a picture of the map. But I'm just not sure it came with the original version. I see some things online that do include the map, and I see other things that don't include the map as things that came with the game. So I'm a little unclear as to which one is real. So I didn't include it, but at least one of the later releases did have a map to come with the game. But I don't think that the map was entirely necessary. You're mostly in the castle. And it's not too difficult to move around. You're not going to get too lost in this game as opposed to some of the other games where you start teleporting and stuff like that. But this is something that kind of made you think outside the box. Like I said, there was going to be a lot of guessing and checking involved in order to bring the turtle along, in order to get the adventurer to do what you wanted, and the fight with Krill is going to take some time to figure out, some practice. You're not probably going to get this your first time through unless you have a guide in front of you. That's just kind of the way that the game works. There's more of a plot to this game than there have been to the other games that we have played, and I did enjoy that, but it wasn't as much as I was remembering before. I do remember kind of the intro and the path that you go on, kind of being introduced to you when you start, and then a bit at the end of a thank you and all that. It's more than we got in any other games, but not by a lot. Planetfall had a similar amount of plot just kind of in the game itself. But with this game, I do have to say that you absolutely need the physical items. Without the physical items, you are hopelessly lost, because they do explain the spells to you in there. You might be able to read the book and get a sense of the spells, but nothing is going to match what the physical items can get you. So this is one of the ones where introductions and manuals and all that were necessary, I feel, to kind of illustrate what's going on in the game. But We have talked about these kinds of text-based games before. If you are interested in text-based adventures, don't mind not having graphics, don't mind not having sound, then this is a game that I would recommend. If you like adventure games, I would highly recommend this, pretty much alongside any of the other Infocom games that we have played so far. Obviously, if you want graphics, you're not necessarily interested in story, or you do want the sound, then this is obviously not going to be a game for you. And that's my modern take on the game. When the game was released, Enchanter proved to be relatively popular. Enchanter would sell 50,000 copies by the end of 1984. It would go on to sell over 75,000 copies overall. The critics were also relatively positive about the game. While the game was seen as a good adventure and a good video game, the critics saw the game as a lesser Infocom title. With another hit on their hands, Infocom would continue to dominate the text-based adventure game genre. We will hear from Infocom again in the future. We will also hear from Mark Blank and Dave Lebling again, as they would continue to create video games. That will do it for the story of Enchanter for now. My name is Baller Scuba. This has been Video Games Over Time. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in our next video when we continue casting spells.